Hey, welcome back everybody. This is Jim and Crystal with Serpentine Dream. I get asked a lot of questions from time to time, shows or just from random people online, sometimes through YouTube, on how we take care of our animals, what kind of setup we use, how we feed them, quarantine, mite prevention, just a little bit of everything. So I recently went and bought a new rack system. It's right here actually, the 7030 ARS. We are just now getting this set up. So what I figured I would do, this would be a good time to go ahead and do this little video here on, set it up from the start, from scratch, what we do, the process, and that way you can just come along and see how we do it and hopefully answer most of the questions that a lot of people have. All right, on this section we're going to talk about caging, what we use, why we use it. So like I said, we just picked up this new ARS 70 rack. It has 3 sections, holds 30 tubs, it's 10 high. And I'm going to pull these tubs out here. The reason I like these racks is one, it has belly heat in the back. On each section, you can barely see this metal strip here. It has heat tape in it, so the tubs stay nice and warm in the back. The tubs I use have built-in water bowls. And I actually use deli cups that I put in here. That way I can just take them out when they get dirty and change them, throw them away. And then also use aspen bedding. And then, like I said, we're just now setting this rack up. I also put Velcro on them just because I actually use cage cars, which I'll get into later. Kind of just helps me keep the animals organized and has all their information when they were born, while they are, and all that good stuff. But then with the actual cage setup itself, there's a lot I do to the tubs before I use them, and stuff I do with the animals when I get them. So I'll cover that in another section of this video. But these are for, these big cages here, the 70s, are for the big breeder females. And then I have, ones that are this small that are for basically the hatchlings. So I've got 3 different size, actually 4 different size tubs that I use in different racks that I have, from babies all the way up to breeder adult. I do have a heater up here, keeps my room at 80 to 81 degrees. I use it just to help elevate the room temperature because, of course, the house is cooler and this is part of my house. So. And then all the racks are set at 90 degree for the belly heat. So they have a 80 to 81 degree cool spot, and then a hot spot of 90 degrees for when they're digesting their food. And then during the winter time, I use a humidifier in this room that keeps the humidity up around 60–65%. During the rest of the year, I don't have to worry about it as much. If I see an animal going to the shed, I'll just kind of spray them down a little bit. Besides that, humidity stays up pretty well. I'm in Indiana, so we have pretty high humidity. All right, now we'll get to the part where I show you how to use the prevenamite. Quick disclaimer, this is an insecticide, so if you have crickets or mealworms or anything like that, don't spray it around them. You can kill them off, and then you won't have feeders, or you got poison feeders. Preferably, I like to spray it outside, at least spray it away from your snakes and your collection. But I'll show you how I apply it in a minute. But also, I do not use it around certain animals, like I won't use it around my hog noses. We have western hog noses, and we had an incident one time with one. They apparently are very allergic to it. But as far as ball pythons, corns, boas, stuff like that, I haven't really heard of too many problems with it. But there is a right way to use it. Like I said, I will be getting to that here in just a minute. But I just want to give this quick disclaimer on it. All right. What I generally do with the prevenamite, real quick, just a few seconds spray down, and what that does is just allows it to kind of coat the surface, and I'll let that dry for about 30 minutes before I put in the bedding. All right, and once the tub is dry from the first coat of prevenamite, I put the aspen bedding in, or whatever bedding you're using. Like I said, I use aspen, and I give it just a real quick shot with the prevenamite again. This time, just real quick, that's it. I give it another 30 minutes to dry, then the tubs are ready for the snakes to be put in. All right, this part I'll talk about the actual cleaning of the cages and basically how I do it. This is a clean cage, so just use it for demonstration. I got these little scrapers. This one's dirty, but they're just made for like paint or whatever. This is a plastic one. I don't use metal because it'll scratch the tub, so it's just a little plastic one. And basically, I throw away all the bedding once a month, completely scrape the cage out really good, make sure it's nice and clean. And then I'll take the tub and I'll fill it up with hot, soapy, antibacterial water. And I just use the same dish detergent that I soak the animals in. Scrub it down really good. I have a green scouring pad and a couple of brushes that I use. Make sure it's nice and clean, front and back. Make sure it's spotless. And then rinse it out really good. And then I spray a diluted bleach on it, about 25–30% bleach to water. And I'll let it soak from 10 minutes to 20 minutes. The longer the better. So anywhere from at least 10 minutes so minimal. I'll make sure there is any kind of bacteria or anything in there that kills it. After you're done with that, the time's up. Spray it out really, really good. You don't want any of that bleach fumes left behind. So rinse it out really, really good. And then dry it. And then you'll basically from there, what I'll normally do is start doing the procedure I showed earlier in the video where I spray the prevenamide, then do the bedding, then prevenamide again. But real important, once a month I clean all my tubs. I got them on a weekly cycle. So I'll do a certain section of the cage one week, then I'll do another section of that cage the next week, so that once a month all the cages get completely disinfected, get completely cleaned out. And like I said, it just makes for a healthier collection. So that's how I take care of my tubs and my cages. Also spot cleaning, we do it all the time. We're in here all the time. We're coming in and out. We're checking on water. We're doing this and that. So spot cleaning we do daily, if not every other day. The animals are always getting looked in on. So anytime we open the cage, we also check to see if the animal's gone to the bathroom. If it has, we just do a quick spot clean. That's why I like using the Aspen. It's a real quick cleaning. Also, when I get my racks, I order extra tubs. That way, say there's a big mess, I need to get it cleaned up, but I'm in a hurry to go somewhere, I can swap the tub out real quick, so I always got some already made up and ready to go. Then when I get time, I can come back, clean that cage, and get it set up for the next time I need it. So that's how I clean them. Hopefully that will help and answer some questions that you guys had. In this section of the video, I want to talk about quarantine. I've had a lot of people ask me questions about it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Everyone's going to do it a little bit different. So I'll just tell you the way I do it, and it works for me. And the reason I do it this way is because, like everyone who generally owns a lot of reptiles, at some point you'll get hit with mites. And I've had them just like a lot of other people. And once you have them and have to fight them, you don't want them again. So you want to not get them, or at least to give yourself the best chance of not getting them, here's what I do. Before I go to a show or any place where I may pick up a new animal, or if I'm buying a new animal from somebody, I make sure I have something outside I can throw away the container in. I don't even bring it into my house. So I get the animal, I bring it home. First thing I do is open the container up, get the animal out, take it out of the bag or container, whatever it's in, throw all that away outside. I don't even bring it into my house. I bring the animal upstairs to a separate part of my house to where it's away from my collection, and I give the animal a bath. What I do is I use antibacterial soap, like dish soap, and mix up with some warm water. Generally it's about 90 to 95 degrees, and I soak the animal for about 20 to 30 minutes, and just let it'll swim around and just clean itself really well. Before I get it out, I give it a real good wipe down, just make sure it's clean. I just use my hands. I don't use anything abrasive on the snake. And make sure I don't see anything, any signs of mites, any speckling or anything like that, anything under the scales. And then what I'll do with the animal then is I'll dry it off really well, and then I'll give it a spray down with Frontline spray. It's for dogs. This is the best thing I found that you can use on the animals. It's safe, that kills mites. It puts a barrier on the snake and it kills them. Stuff's expensive. It's like $30-some for this little bottle. It's not cheap, but this is the right way to do it if you don't want to get mites. And I'll show you on the video exactly how I do it. But after I bathe it, I rub it down with the Frontline, and then I'll put it in a quarantine cage that's separate from the rest of my collection. I'll leave it in there. I'll check on it, every few days. Keep a real good eye. Make sure I'm not seeing any signs of mites or any problems with the snake or it acting weird or funny. After about a month, I'll give it a really, really good look over. If the snake seems fine, I'll go give it another bath. This is, like I said, it might be over the top for some people, but this is just how I do it. Same thing, give it about a 20–30 minute bath, and then I'll hit it with Frontline again. Put it back in its cage. At that point, I've cleaned its cage out completely. Sanitized it. The whole cage has been cleaned out. Put the snake back in there. Give it another month. If it seems fine after that, it can come to my collection. And that's worked out really good for me. Keeps me from getting mites, and hopefully it'll continue to do so. Alright guys, here's me part of the giving them baths. What I do is just run, like I said, a bath 90-95 degree water. I use dish soap that has antibacterial properties in it. Yeah, let's give them about a 30-minute bath. Just fill the bathtub up, get some soap in it. And right now they're being calm, but they were just getting crazy a minute ago. They'll try to get out, then they'll calm down, then they'll try to get out and calm down. So if you do this, you do have to stay with them, watch them. You can't leave the room. Trust me, they know. They will try to get out the minute you decide to go into another room. Plus, if something was to happen, you want them to drown or get stuck anywhere or anything like that. But yep, this is how I give them a bath. It's real simple. And before I get them out, I'll just grab them and give them a quick wipe down. Especially their underbellies that they're on all the time, and just make sure they're nice and clean. Alright guys, on this part of the video, like we had talked about, I will show you how I actually apply the front line to the ball python. After she's had a nice bath and she's nice and dry, depends on how big your girl is, or boy, or whatever you have. She's a decent sized female, so I'll only do about 3 to 4 squirts. Smaller animals, just 1 or 2. Bigger, 4 to 5. But she's probably just a hair under 3,000 right now grams. So what I do is, she's got about 3.5 to 4 squirts on my hand. I'll dump some on her body. I get her head really good. Don't want to spray it on the head, but you don't want to run your hand over it. Get the top and the bottom of her body. You rub it all around. Get her whole body covered. Now this is alcohol based, so you'll kind of smell the alcohol. But that's just a delivery system for the medication. And it only takes about a minute or 2 for the snake to be dry. And plus, it also pulls some of the extra that might be on your gloves. Make sure you're wearing gloves. It is, it is a toxin, so make sure you are wearing gloves for this part. And what it does, it creates a barrier on the snake. And even if a mite does get in and try to feed on the snake, it'll die. Therefore, it never gets a chance to lay eggs and breed and make a lot more mites. Because unfortunately, ball python temperatures and humidity are actually the perfect temperature for what mites like. So, but now she's dry. I can feel her. Her skin, doesn't feel all wet anymore. So she's nice and dry. What I'll do is I'll put her back in her tub. Also, do not give them water, or if they do have water, I take their water away for 24 hours. So I'll put her back in her tub, which has no water, and then tomorrow about this time, I'll put her water dish back in. And that's basically just to keep her from trying to soak in it and get any of this off, get any of the front line off. I want to make sure it's really, really soaked in. Alright, in this part of the video, I want to talk about the husbandry and taking care of your actual ball pythons, and for me, also I breed my own rodents, actually taking care of your rodents. They get cleaned out every week just like my ball pythons do. They get the best food possible. I buy Missouri. It's a rodent diet. It's lab grade. That's what I feed all my rats. Is it cheap? No, it's more expensive than just feeding them some cheap dog food or something, but I really believe what you put in is what you get out. Not to, curse myself or anything, but I get a lot of real healthy eggs. I don't get a lot of slugs. So, and a lot of that is, I believe, into taking care of your snakes. You got to keep their temperatures right. You got to keep their cages clean. You got to have fresh water. You have to feed them good quality food. That's why I breed my own rodents. No one's going to take care of these like I do, the way I want them for my collection. I have a couple different types. I have just regular rats, and then we also breed ASF rats. They're African soft furred. They're smaller. The babies are smaller, which are great for stubborn feeders, and also occasionally if I get really small ones born, like we have some hog noses, and I actually just had a set of twins born. They're not going to be able to eat a rat baby. They're going to have to, have something like an ASF pinky for their first meal. So, like I said, the big thing is make sure you're taking care of your feeders as well as your animals. That'll definitely allow a lot more success and a lot less problems in your collection. Alright, and I've been asked a lot of times how I keep all my animals separate, how I keep track of them, and because I have a lot of snakes, and I breed clutches every year. So big way I do that, one, I use Excel, keep databases on pretty much everything. Another thing, I use K-charts. We make all these cards for each snake, and what it has is I give an ID, which is generally their date of birth, and if they're male, female, that information, that's their ID. They get a nickname, all of them get a name, their date of birth, that includes what genes are in the animal, and also, of course, the Serpentine Dream on the side of it. Also, male and female symbol. Males are blue. You won't see me here because these are what I'm putting all my girls in. So it has the female symbol, and it's pink. This is how we organize. That way, later, when I breed two animals together, I'll actually use their ID, because we have several animals that might have spider in it, or pastel in it, or whatever gene. So this way I know exactly which animal together with what animal produced a certain clutch. Say if something weird came up or a mutation came up, I would know exactly where it came from. So that's a big part is when you do your breedings, make sure you know exactly which pastel, which spider actually was involved in that pairing. So this is one big thing I do. And like I said, I use Excel. We track every clutch every year. Clutch, we give it the year, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, to however many clutches we have that year. So that helps out a lot. And that's really the biggest thing as far as the organization part is, keeping these tags for every animal. And the reason I have two on here as well, the Velcro, is because when I have a male, I'll just use this for an example. I can put the male lower, and then I can put the female's card on top, and they're both on the same page. That way, I track that male wherever I'm moving to. So, put these back. But that's how I keep track of my girls and my boys, and who's breeding what, and who's making what clutches. So, all right, I hope that answered most of the questions that a lot of people have had. Just kind of my quick and dirty, this is how we do things here. It's not necessarily the only way to do them. It's just what works for me. And I firmly believe that if you don't put the time into it, you're not going to be happy with the results. So you definitely have to put in a lot, or you're not going to get much out of it. But like always, if you have any questions, just put them down in the comments section. I always reply to every comment, at least I try to. I don't think I really ever miss any. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. These do take a lot of time to put together. And I'll see you in the next video.